choogy. That's a thing.
From fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, this is Pod Therapy. Real people, real problems, real therapists. You can submit your questions anonymously at podtherapy.net or email us at podtherapyguys@gmail.com. Hey everybody, check out our new phone app. It is called TikTok.
Ah, yuck.
All night tonight, we'll be talking about ticks. And now, broadcasting from the chair,
Demon
Dr.
spawn
Jim
of
Jobin.
Satan.
I'm Nick Tangeman. It's time for some Pod Therapy.
For all of you people who live in not the desert, I don't know how you go through your lives knowing that within miles of your residence, there are blood-sucking vermin that give you Lyme disease, just hiding in like the flowers and stuff. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
Nature sucks.
Are you not concerned by like
I'm on team climate
by
change.
like cockroaches and mice
No.
and things like that?
Who cares about mice? Come
None
on.
of those things would bother you?
Nothing that can hurt us in that way lives here, right? Like we're surrounded by scorching hot rocks. There's scorpions, and that's yucky. But like I don't know, you get stung by a scorpion, it probably hurts really bad.
Coyotes.
Yeah, again, I could see those things galloping at me. I'm not worried about those things. I'm worried about all the sneaky, creepy, crawly stuff. You like chase your dog in the flowers or like, ticks, man. The Lyme disease, curse of the mummy.
Hey, look at these.
Patreon.com/therapy. No, don't show me anymore. I'm still trying to get rid of the image of the cottonmouth thing that Jacob was talking about. God, there's so much
It was an
scary
interesting
stuff.
Patreon episode today.
There was a lot of weird
We
stuff.
did not talk at all about mental health.
No, we usually don't. Yeah, we talked about
Tonight it was all ticks.
I mean,
Yeah.
we kind of drew a circle around Jim's
childhood
mental health.
trauma.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, that was
There's
mostly
a
it.
big red circle around Jim's mental health
Yeah.
in the
I
Patreon
think
episode
in
today.
every Patreon we dab
Yeah.
a little bit.
It always gets
inadvertently.
somewhere close.
It's always kind of like, hey guys, check this out.
Yeah. So if you want to hear about all the terrifying creepy crawlies that have traumatized me since childhood, and each of our worst memories of how we were mauled by various wild things, and how the urine of Dale Earnhardt Jr. could save your life, go to patreon.com/therapy.
Yes.
Check out the pre-show. It's good stuff. So.
Definitely.
And by this time, I believe that our Pod Therapy Fantasy Football League will have drafted because we have that coming up this weekend.
Oh, that's right.
Yep, we have full crew. We're really good. You're
Oh,
not
am
in
I
this
in it?
one, Jacob.
I'm not? Okay,
You
good.
might be. So one person has not claimed their team. If you randomly get a text from me on Saturday morning, I might be auto-drafting your team.
Oh, I don't want to auto-draft.
I
I don't want to play if I'm auto-drafting.
That's true. What didn't I
it's
get
Sunday,
auto-drafted
isn't it?
last year and I won? I feel like that's a winning strategy. I'm absolutely wearing my Jim Champion of Fantasy Football shirt during the draft. So know that is going to happen. But if you'd like to follow all the shenanigans related to fantasy football and all the things we do, check us out anywhere on social media. We're pretty active at Pod Therapy Guys on Twitter and at Instagram, Pod Therapy at Facebook, and of course, patreon.com/therapy.
There's a new level at patreon.com/therapy.
Oh, Lord. here
And
it
that
comes.
is Name Nick's
That's
New
not it.
Business.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Help us make up names for Nick's new physical trainer side hustle.
Now, I think there's a Patreon level. I think it's right
Aw.
around $32.
Yeah, and you get to name it.
That's
You
it?
just get to name Nick's business.
That's it. First person
And
to
if-
drop $32.
Yep.
That's
And if we-
yours. You get the
no,
naming
no,
rights.
Not even the first person. If we have more than one, we just tack it onto the end.
just combine all the names.
There will
Just
be
be-
all the names. This is a great
My
idea.
business card will be on poster board.
Just have to put it in fine print. Yeah. That was an interesting background, the jumble of letters. Thanks. That's the LLC actually.
Yeah.
That's the legal name of the enterprise.
I'm sure you could let the Patreons actually name your LLC.
Oh God, please
could.
let this
Yeah,
happen.
I could.
There's a giving level for this.
Because
I'm
like the
telling you.
LLC isn't supposed to be your
Yeah,
real
what do you
business
care?
name
Right.
anyway.
What do you
That's right.
care? It
That's
could
right.
just be some
It could be.
ridiculous. Oh God, the ideas are just pouring in.
It's going to be something like Jim Jobin is the best therapist LLC.
Oh, no.
Yeah, hold on. I got 32
No.
bucks in my wallet. I'm just going to buy this now. We don't need to wait for Patreon. Throwing down. Patreon.com/therapy. Come join the party. We always got fun stuff going on and extra content and all sorts of bonus stuff as it flows out of us into the universe. But some good questions today. First one comes from a therapist who listens to the show titled
Sorry.
Overcoming Fear of Failure. Here's what it says. Hello, fellow therapists. This may be a long one. I apologize in advance. I've been listening to your podcast since the Reddit AMA. It's helped me find perspective on a lot of different issues with mental health and help figure out ways for me to better help others. So for that, I thank you guys, as I really do love this community. Anyways, I wanted to talk about one of my biggest struggles in my life, the fear of failure. I always beat myself up over the smallest things, and when I do, I realize I tend to shut down. Maybe disassociate, but I'm not entirely sure. I'll beat myself up to the point where I feel I'm not worthy to do much of anything in my life. I burn myself out emotionally, and of course, I know that's not healthy. As I thought about it, I realized growing up, I never had too much of a support system, and also people that weren't the best examples. In particular, my older brother, who would verbally call me names, but you don't have to read these, as it wouldn't be appropriate. Okay, he gives us a whole bunch of names that, yep, none of them are appropriate.
Go ahead, Jim.
I'm going to pass.
Go ahead.
I think we'll let all those go.
I was just thinking about...
All those words?
No.
Oh, the 7 words you can't say on television?
No. The Jeopardy guy that
now
is not going to be the host
Yeah,
because of stuff he said on a podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Go ahead, Jim. Read this list.
Buddy, this is not the episode that disqualifies me from hosting Jeopardy.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, there's 200 more in the bank. Yeah, this will be the least of my worries. It's a bunch of mean names that are diminutive. And he'd make me his punching bag, use me for money, find enjoyment if I suffered in any way. If I got bullied in school, he'd call me another name or something of that nature, which made me feel even more meek and more low. Being surrounded by just that person almost my whole life, along with a few others, essentially made me feel as though I wasn't worth much of anything to the world. I never had too many friends growing up because I closed myself off to the world. But now, in recent years, I can definitely say I'm in a better place. If it wasn't for people like my dad, who always supported me, I would have given up a very long time ago. Okay, so I have 2 major questions. First, how do I get over the things that someone like my brother has done? My family wants us to get along, but when he moved to another state, I found myself so much happier without him, as though the toxicity and years of torment vanished. I know it's my choice to decide who I want and don't want in my life, but I also don't want to upset my mother, as all she wants is for her sons to get along. And also, more importantly, how do I get over my fear of failure? How do I not beat myself up over the smallest things? And how can I become more productive when mistakes or mishaps happen? Thanks, guys. You're great. P.S. Forgot to mention, I don't have medical insurance yet, but when the benefits at my new job kick in, guess who's making phone calls to the nearest therapist and psychiatrist? Again, thanks a bunch, anonymous therapist.
Awesome.
So this
Always
is your
good to
chance,
hear.
Nick. This is your chance. Let's dust off those new skills you're going to be using. You're breaking out the how do you help somebody overcome fear of failure? Because you're going to have people that show up in the gym and go, I've tried, I've blown it. How do I know this is going to be any different? I'm scared of just starting something I'm going to drop. All right, coach, go.
Failure is only our opportunity to begin again, only this time more wisely.
Boo!
Thanks for coming, everybody.
Shut up! You shut up! That was great.
Yes. I like this part. I'm just going to sit back and watch Jacob fucking harass you. This is fantastic. This is what it looks like, Tangeman, when you try.
All right, well, okay. 2 things. The fear of failure thing, I think you're a therapist. You probably know a lot about cognitive reframing, and that's
Sure.
the way that I've always approached it is, when people talk about their fear of failure, I kind of question them a little bit and okay, so what does that mean? What
What does it
failure
mean?
of what? Okay, so you fail. So what does that mean?
Right.
And then what does that mean? And what does that mean? So we get into identifying the meaning that you're putting behind the failure.
Yes.
When in reality, that's like the one thing that all really successful people understand. All really successful people understand that failure is just a redirection.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Like, oh, I tried this venture. It didn't work. It failed. Oh, okay, but I learned something, and then
Right.
from there I pivot over this way.
Right.
And it's not a roadblock. It's like bumpers, that kind of push you back in the
Right.
direction you're supposed to be going.
Renavigating.
Yeah, and so any situation like that, I always try to ask myself when something fails, like, all right, well, what'd you learn?
Yeah.
What'd you learn when we got fired from our job? Oh,
Right.
What'd you learn?
What did we learn?
When
Yeah.
I had one business that I was executive director of that just one day closed.
Yes.
The owners are just like,
God,
hey,
I'll never forget that phone call. That was
put
a
up a
crazy
sign
day.
in the window.
Yeah.
Just say we're done.
Sell the staplers.
Yeah, exactly.
Good luck.
Yeah, we can't pay you, so
Good
sell
luck.
off all the office equipment and use that to pay your salary.
Jeez.
Yeah, okay.
Wow.
That sucked, and it was terrible.
Right.
Well, what'd you learn? Like,
Right.
from each of these experiences, I've
Yeah.
learned something very
That time
valuable.
your girlfriend ninja rolled out of a moving vehicle, leaving you to crash into a hotel and casino.
Yeah.
What did you
learn?
learn? Yeah. Don't trust her.
But each one of those, like, okay, so we kind of talked a little bit in the Patreon about how I'm kind of going towards starting a new business.
Yeah.
I don't think I would be able to do that if I hadn't lost both of those jobs.
Okay. Yeah.
Because both of those, because I'm a very, very, when it comes to managing my finances and like taking care of myself, I'm very conservative.
Right.
I've never been known to take risks.
Not a risk taker.
I just don't do that.
Yep.
And the idea of starting a new business just has always scared the bejesus out of me.
To put it in perspective, if Nick and I are at a store and he sees a sign that says buy one, get one for $1, he'll contemplate that for 20 minutes and he'll think, but do I really need that second one?
Yeah.
Because I mean, that's a buck. That's a buck that I don't want to just waste.
Yeah,
Am I gonna use the second one?
Yeah.
I'm not exaggerating,
No,
guys.
no,
That's the thing.
yeah,
Just buy one,
that's
get one socks. He'd be like, I don't know.
probably accurate.
Yeah, how long are these socks gonna last?
But I mean, the thing now that I've learned is that, like, you can take risks and you can take calculated risks.
Right.
You know, so I wouldn't say I'm, devil may care type
no.
attitude.
No.
I'm still very cautious about how I do things.
Right.
But now I'm more willing to take some risks knowing that I can fail and I'm going to be okay.
Yes.
And I'm going to learn something from that experience.
So to the writer in this one, I think you're already doing yourself a great service connecting those two dots, right? I think you're doing great therapeutic work internally because you're looking at your own history and saying, all right, where did this storyline show up in my head? Well, my brother relentlessly punished me for ever being anywhere off center, right? If I was a little too far left, I'm out there. I'm exposed. I'm vulnerable. He can belittle me. He can call me names. He can put me down. If I care about something too much and I don't do good at it, if I'm a little bit awkward, if I'm, anything I fail at, there it is. I'm immediately getting smacked around and sometimes literally and at least verbally. So I think you're doing a great job of connecting those two dots and saying, this has had an imprinting effect on the way that I perceive myself and my fear of somehow standing out or doing something that didn't look perfect, as if there's this internal voice, which is my brother's voice, which has this negative effect. So much so that if my father hadn't been there for me, who knows if I would have made it. It's that bad. So I want to speak to all three of this. I want to talk a little bit about boundaries as an adult, because I do think that's important in this topic. I want to talk a little bit about trauma work. That's something that I think you're probably going to benefit from. And last, I think for me, I just want to address the fear of failure as a therapist. That's unique. And the fact that you're in this profession and you fear failure is important, and we probably need to talk about it. So real quick, trauma stuff, you're connecting those dots, the imprint of your brother's voice on your psyche. It comes back to what Nick's talking about, the meaning of the thing. Okay, if you fail, what does that mean to you? Getting deeper into that cognitive distortion.
If I had to guess, it's probably a statement about
Your value.
exactly.
Yeah, I therefore have no value, or I am humiliated, I am horrified. The whole world knows, and now this is going to be somehow attached to me, and I have to outlive this new reputation. When in reality, falling in the dirt, getting up, dusting yourself off, looking to the next goal, that's all failure could be. As Nick was saying, we're going to reframe that. I think CBT has value here, but I also think some trauma work. I think going back, doing a trauma timeline with a good provider that you can trust, maybe doing some Gestalt open chair techniques if the therapist knows how to do that. And that's where, for those who aren't in the business, that's where you're actually speaking to a person who has harmed you in your life, but they're not there. They're speaking to an empty chair, or the therapist is standing in that place. It is an extremely powerful technique to do. It is not something you just whip out and do. There's an entire prelude that goes into this. But that might be part of this, is how we confront resentment, how we confront the power that somebody still has, especially our bully, that somebody still has over our life. Now, speaking to that idea of bully, Ryder, the idea of adult boundaries, you talk about how much happier you were whenever your brother moved away, you just didn't have to talk to this person anymore. You struggle with that guilt because you want to appease your mother. Listen, I'm not going to tell you how to navigate your family business. I don't know the intricacies of your dynamic, but I will be a voice that says you and every listener out there absolutely has the right to decide who will be in your life.
Mm-hmm.
If there have been people in your life, friends, coworkers, family especially, who have hurt you, who have tormented you, who have left these traumatic imprints, you don't owe them a goddamn thing. And I don't
Easy
care that
on
you're
the language. Jim.
sorry. Gosh darn it, you don't owe them nothing. Because if
Fuck
they,
yeah.
Thanks, Jacob. Because if they have hurt you, there's this myth that like, well, family is forever. You know, that's what family forgives and all. The hell do you have to do, Jack? You don't have to do nothing. And if your mom says, "Oh, come on, you know, all I really want is for you two boys to get together," and that's fine, Mom. But you know, this guy beat the shit out of me for 20 years.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I don't want to be with him. I don't want to be in his presence. Like, and then drawing those boundaries for yourself. You know, here's what I'm willing to do. Here's what I'm not.
One of the things that I learned slowly in becoming an adult is like there's kind of this realization that you get at some point when you realize that people no longer actually have power over you.
Right. Yeah.
And that's like a very freeing thing because
It
you kind
is.
of get that point where it's like, oh, I always have to do this. I have to do this.
Yeah,
I
don't
have
want
to do
anybody
this.
to be
And
upset
you
at
realize
me.
like,
What are they going to think about me?
I don't have to do anything.
They really don't matter.
Yeah, when you get to that point where you become independent, like I'm financially independent.
Right.
So I don't rely on any
Right.
family member for money.
Right.
So they don't have any kind of input over my decisions. I'm
voting.
a
Yep.
grown man.
Right.
I can live independently. I can
Right.
function independently, and then you kind of realize like, oh, they don't have any power over anything that I
They
do.
do not. No
I
vote.
can just do what I want, and if they
Yep.
don't like it, then well, I'm sorry you don't like it, but this,
Right.
you know, I'm an adult now.
But there are a lot of writers, just like this anonymous writer, who have a tormentor in their family. And they are pushed by culture and by expectation to make nice with that person and show up. And I disagree with that deeply.
I do too.
I really do. And I think it's okay to take a stand. I think it's okay to explain yourself to others. And if your family says, "Oh, come now, it wasn't that bad." Okay, I don't expect you guys to get it, but I do decline to bring my presence into that person's, you know, proximity. And maybe through personal therapy work, perhaps your ability to tolerate that other human for longer periods of time might increase. I don't know. But at least for now, I definitely want to be on team. You don't have to put up with anything, and you don't have to do that. There's a lot of people that get forced into the presence of their abusers because that abuser was a family member. That's absolutely a myth. It's bullshit, and it's something that we all need to stand up and say, nope, you don't have, you can nope out of that. Do whatever you need to do. You don't have to be around that person. You don't have to talk to that person. I think that's huge.
But let's address the other part of that because they did say that their mother is really wants this to happen.
Right, right.
And so I'm betting that that's they put that in the email. So I'm
Right.
betting that's a driving force here.
Well, it is because the writer has a fear of failure.
Well-
and that includes failing mom's expectations.
And the thing that we always say in addictions treatment is you can only clean your side of the street.
That's right.
So that's, I mean, in that situation, that's all you can do. You can say, hey, I'm open for a relationship.
Right.
These are the conditions.
I was going to say ground
And
rules. I
that's-
think are a
yeah.
fine thing.
Absolutely.
Ground rules, and also learning the 3 A's of assertive communication in the way that you speak to your mother. Because you might have to say, listen, I acknowledge how you're feeling right now, right? I get it. We're your children. You love both of us equally. Nothing brings you more joy than to see these two guys be together, hold each other, hug, eat turkey together, and be as one in the family. That's great. And, you know, so I acknowledge that truth. And, you know, I'm not going to do it, right? Like, you know, I get how you're feeling and that, but the truth is, this guy is an abuser to me. It has not been good for me. I haven't burdened you guys with all of my woeful tales all these years. I'm not available to do that, you know? So asserting yourself in that kind of affirmative way is appropriate. And so that, but I do think that's, again, this is something I'm glad you're going to partner with a therapist on. And that brings us to the third thing that I want to talk about, which is a professional therapist with a fear of failure and also pursuing therapy for themselves. It is we have a lot of therapists listen to this show and a lot of students and a lot of interns. It is entirely appropriate as a therapist to go see your own therapist. Dentists have their own dentist, okay? They ain't leaning back shooting themselves up with Novocaine and then drilling into their own teeth. It's not a thing.
Not if they don't have a good mirror.
Not if they don't have a good mirror, okay?
But somebody's done it.
Yes, somebody on a pirate ship has done it. Tom Hanks in Castaway was his own dentist.
They know not to do it because somebody
tried to do it, okay? Dentists have their own dentists. Therapists have their own therapist. We are humans. We cannot always do the surgical, psychological work of self-examination and revelation for ourselves. There's a great deal we can do, and there's a great deal that we cannot. And so this fear that you have of failure, I just want to bring your attention to that, writer, because, and you haven't stated it explicitly, but in our work, remember, it is so important that we as healthcare providers, as therapists, give our patients the dignity of failure, okay, the dignity of choice. If our patients struggle, if they're not succeeding right away, if they're disappointed, if they're having a hard time, that is not directly a reflection on us. We're working with fickle conditions in incredibly varied waters. We do not have pure, sanitized control over human lives. We're dancing with this human and trying to help them change. So just know that it is a very complex process. I don't want you to walk around with that fear of failure when it comes to your work, because we do have to have that ability to see everything as grist for the mill. Even if our patient regresses, even if something negative happens, we can always bend that back toward their solutions, but we have to be careful not to internalize that too much, because then we become self-defeated. It's really hard to pick yourself up from that marker. Glad to hear that you're getting therapy, though. Glad to hear you're also open to psychiatry. You never know if some meds are going to help, but I strongly encourage you to do that trauma work, man. It's awesome. And we didn't get any pronouns on this one. You just gave us anonymous. So whoever you are, let us know. Give us updates once you start getting into the work. Hearing an insider's perspective of what therapy's like would be a really cool letter to read. So feel free to shoot us a line and let us know. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we are going to talk about losing interest in everything. You're listening to Pod Therapy.
Today's episode is brought to you by Smitty Scoop, Jake Schneider, Carolyn Albert, and Kevin Chamberlain. If you'd like to sponsor a show, become a therapy producer. Patreon.com/therapy.
And Nick's Muscle Madness coming to you this fall.
I like Muscle Madness.
That'd be a good one.
That's all right. This week's trivia.
Terrible.
That's how uncreative he is.
I know.
If it's an alliteration, he's
the
like, all
first,
right.
The first one, I'm like, yes, okay.
Just writing that one down
Fine.
real quick. Yeah,
there it is.
That'll do it.
I don't care. This week's trivia theme in honor of our therapy producers is dogs.
Oh, okay.
According to the American Kennel Club, what is the most popular dog breed in the United States?
Remember that time we got questions about dog names and Jacob fucking nailed it? And I was like, not even on the list.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
A, German Shepherd. B, Labrador Retriever. C, Chihuahua. D, Golden Retriever.
Can I have the first shot?
If you'd like to join the therapy producers to make the show possible, go to patreon.com/therapy and sign up. Again, that's patreon.com/therapy.
All right. I feel like, just based on television, that it's going to end up being like a Golden Retriever, because Air Bud dominates. And I think there's a lot of Golden Retriever out there.
Air Bud is a solid argument.
It really is. Okay, it's a solid one. Labrador.
Oh, I bet you wish you'd have gone first. Now,
Rin Tin Tin. You got your German Shepherds with Rin Tin Tin.
Oh, very.
Not a lot of famous labs.
Very current reference.
Not a lot of famous
Rin Tin
labs.
Tin.
I'm going in on Chihuahua, and this one's a shout out to my baby Pumpkin. You're the light of my life, Pumpkin.
I was going to guess Chihuahua as well.
Snatched it up.
My guess of Chihuahua was going to be entirely based on
Numbers?
people living in the city.
I think there's just a volume of Chihuahuas.
But no, you can
There's 10 Chihuahuas to every Golden Retriever.
if you're in a small apartment, you can have a Chihuahua.
Easy.
You can't have a lab.
Well, just the people that you know, there's a shitload of Chihuahuas. Me and Paul have the same dog. Like, we actually have figured this out. It's the same dog. Like, she's just moving between houses. I've seen pictures of his dog. It's my dog.
Solid.
Two guys you know have Chihuahuas. You don't know two guys that have
I'll
Golden Retrievers.
switch to what was it?
Labs, German Shepherds, or
Retrievers, labs, and German Shepherds.
Labrador Retriever, German Shepherd, Golden Retriever.
Oh, there's two retrievers, though.
Two retrievers.
Lab is a type of retriever.
Yeah, whatever.
I'll guess lab.
That does feel good.
Jacob wins.
Yeah!
Labrador Retriever.
Damn!
Labs are super popular in the South.
Are they?
Yeah.
Because it's like a hunting dog?
Yeah.
Ah, damn it. I thought you'd go Golden Retriever since you had that whole story in Patreon.
I think they're
about the dog who haunted your home and would not go away, and your dad tried to mafia him. and that was a golden retriever.
I feel like labs are pretty popular farm dogs too.
Oh yeah,
They're pretty smart.
They're just smart, useful dog.
They're just a
Chihuahua,
nice
not
dog.
super
If
useful.
you've got space, a lab is a real nice dog to have
Yeah.
around.
Yeah,
That makes
definitely.
sense.
And
German
they don't need
Shepherds are
tons of
smart.
space either. Like if you have
Right.
like a half acre, if you got
They'll
a little
do
bit of yard for the lab to go run around in, you
Yeah.
don't mind taking it on a walk every so often. Like lab's a good dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
feel
they're
like
great with kids.
German Shepherds, though, get all that police work. You'd think that there'd be a lot of them. The Chihuahua's not a useful dog. Nobody's getting Chihuahuas because of what they can do. So, but that's
Agreed.
why they're not popular. Yeah, what are you gonna do? Losing interest in everything.
1-0.
Damn it. Hi, guys. Glad you enjoyed my question about the woo in therapy. Oh,
yeah.
you again. We did enjoy that.
Woo!
The
that
Ric
guy.
Flair
That guy.
question. That was a good one. Okay, glad you enjoyed my question. That podcast also the most shared I've ever seen among other therapists. We had a little micro viral moment in the therapeutic community of Nevada because of the woo rant.
Oh, no.
People are like, "Yeah, this thing, fuck the woo." So thanks for that.
damn
Yeah,
it.
I know that terrifies me too, but
scares me.
it happened. Glad you enjoyed my question about the woo. It was definitely an interesting listen, and I'm taking that advice on board vis-a-vis my comfort level with that kind of stuff. I've had a few preliminary talks with therapists that aren't really on my wavelength versus stuff like that. Had one ask my birth sign, for example, but I'm still looking. I've mentioned it to my partner, who has suggested I'm using it as an excuse to avoid committing, and it got me thinking. There might be some truth to that. For a bit of context, I'm 29, and at around 15, I stopped caring about friends, hobbies, interests, anything, and really receded into myself. I live relatively comfortably now with a decent job, but I've pretty much been on autopilot since then. And while there have been times of joy, despair, and a dash of hopelessness, including a period of considering suicide, trying to find a distinct memory from any of the last 15 years is like digging through mud in autumn. It wasn't until I was staring down 30 that I began to wake up, so to speak, and really lamented what I had missed out on, or not accomplished. Always wanted to write a book, for instance. Truth be told, I don't really know who I would be if I wasn't largely apathetic and detached. It's been coming up 15 years since I was anyone else. It's been coming up on 15 years since I was anyone else. Is apprehension over this common or normal? Sorry if this is rambling nonsense, but I appreciate you guys' perspectives. Always, regardless of the subject, happy to hear Jacob at least. Regards, T. Fair enough. I like Jacob's input as well.
I was with you up until that.
Yeah, you lost me at that part.
Do you guys know what sound a flare gun makes?
Woo! Gotta pop it too. Oh, the flare gun.
So I'm interested in what changed.
Between 15 and 29?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, is there an argument to
lot.
be made that this is a settling
Yeah.
in of oneself? That it's okay if this is who you are to be quote unquote apathetic and lethargic and not particularly inspired. And then sure, at a milestone age like 30, you look back and go, oh, I should have accomplished more in my 20s. I think that's a pretty typical human experience. That doesn't necessarily mean you did anything wrong. Doesn't even necessarily mean there's anything wrong with you.
Right, I would agree. It doesn't necessarily. Yeah, I mean, and it's not like something just changed overnight. Well, and honestly, even if something did, that's at age 15.
Yeah, I mean,
There's
come
a
on, that's
lot
becoming.
changing overnight.
Yeah, who you are at 15 through 30, that's fair. That's your adult self.
So I guess would we then want to question, really dive into, is it a problem? Is it manifesting itself in other areas? Is it causing problems? Is it causing
That's
us
what I see as the question. Is
significant amount of
apprehension
distress?
common or normal? I'd say yes. I'd say it's common. I think it's normal. I think there's an entire valid personality type, which is just not enthusiastic about going out and conquering mountains and making a million friends and running for mayor or writing a bunch of things. I don't think that that's a bad personality type. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's a template of humanity. And yeah, there's also a regret that comes with that, as there is with all the personality types. Like, I'm
Sure.
more the other type where it's like, I have this to-do list of all these things I have to do and thrust myself into all these projects. and then oftentimes go the other way with it and go, oh, I shouldn't have done that. You know, like that was dumb. Like now that's out in the world, and like how do I get that back, right? Like I wish I could take that one back. So there's regret either way.
Me. That really surprises me because
really?
thought, yeah, I just assumed you felt.
There's
no
literally a book out there that I will not name that I wrote.
Dadvice?
No, there's another one. Go buy Dadvice. Dadvicebook.com.
Why is Dadvice not on that list?
It's not there yet. In 10 years, I probably will be like, I can't believe I did this. Such a waste of my life. So I think that sense of like despair, and again, not to put too sharp of an edge on it, writer, because I think that you're trying to say, listen, it's kind of like a general malaise, right? And I don't necessarily think that's inherently wrong.
I know people that just are kind of like that too, where they don't really have any kind of like motivation to do anything. Like they're just kind of like, I do my thing.
Movie Office Space.
Yeah.
The guy in his quest to do nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, and if that's where you find happiness, that's where you find happiness. And if it's not causing problems in other areas of your life, maybe it's not really an issue that needs to be dealt with.
No.
Now, I do agree with your partner, though, and your partner seemed to have some really good insight there, and that I'm glad that you took a look at that and are exploring that.
Yeah, we don't want to see a delay getting into a therapeutic, work schedule.
Yeah.
Because you can't find a dead ringer.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, and I don't think anything that we're telling you should be used either as a reason to end your seek for your quest for a therapist.
Yeah.
I don't want you to hear this and be like, oh, they think I'm fine. I guess I don't need to see anybody.
Yeah.
You started down that trail for a reason. I would encourage you to continue to pursue that.
Yes, definitely want to see you deliver on that one. Mm-hmm. But I really relate to something the writer said. The writer said that around 15, they stopped taking interest in friends, hobbies, and just kind of receded into themselves. And I interpret that to mean kind of became an introvert, things they used to be interested in, they stopped. So as a therapist writer, if we see that happen over a shorter-ish period of time, we have a clinical word for that. We describe that as anhedonia. And so that's like pleasure deafness, sudden loss of interest in friendships, hobbies, things that you used to get excited about, books, music, all the things that just gave you passion, right? And when we see that drop of interest accompanied with maybe signals of depression, it alerts us. Mm-hmm. We consider it a red flag, and we definitely want to investigate. Now, 15 years of a person, half of your life, seeing childish enthusiasm give way to perhaps adult lethargy, not as concerning unless it concerns you. If we're talking to you and you say, this really upsets me, I want to live differently, to be different, and I feel stuck in this rut, and then we're digging deeper, and then you reveal like, yeah, I get ahead of myself, I overthink it, I talk myself out of these. Okay, now we're interested in what's going on behind the scenes of this behavior. The behavior itself doesn't inherently bother me. Like I know for me, I'm 35 now, I changed in my 30s. I mellowed out. This is me mellow. So, like, I definitely became much more chill. Like, I was talking to my wife about that the other day.
This is Jim chill.
Yeah. Not just, I think the pandemic also helped.
Let that sink in.
Tamp it all down quite a bit. But yeah, like in my 20s, I wanted to do stuff. It was like, let's go. We got to go to the bar. Let's go to the game. We got to get out of the house. Got to get out there and do stuff. Got to join a volleyball team. Like, just always something. And in my 30s, it was more like, no, I'm sincerely good just listening to a podcast in like laying
I like
on a
the
bed.
idea that like all through his 20s, Jim was just out there manically joining volleyball teams
and bars. Doing a volleyball crawl. You guys need a sixth? I got you. So I don't know. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with that.
Never stayed long enough to complete a game.
No.
Just leave for another team.
I'm out. Just get back on this side of the net, Jim. No.
I'm over here now.
I'm over here now. This guy can't commit.
I don't stay on teams. I just joined them.
I just join them. I'm not here to finish. I'm here to start.
They're going to go play pool.
Yeah. Oh, I did that too. That was a great season. I did that like 3 seasons. I shot pool. So I don't know. I don't hear anything in here that startles me. I do think that what you're going through is somewhat normal, at least for you. I mean, hell, if it's half your life, T, I'm going to say, yeah, it sounds like that's who you are. Now, that doesn't mean you can't sit down and investigate that, pull the layers off, and go deeper with it.
The other thing, too, is like that could change easily as well.
Yes.
Like, because I've seen that before, too, where, somebody is just, they're just kind of fine with the way their life is, and they don't
Yeah.
really have a whole lot of ambition to go do something different. And then all of a sudden something hits them.
Yes.
And then they're like, oh, hey, I've got this sudden interest now. I'm going to go
Yes.
pursue this.
Well, and that's a great point going back to Nick's upcoming business, Muscle Madness. How do you get change when you've developed a pattern, and there's nothing wrong with that pattern, but you don't like it anymore, right?
Yeah.
So if the writer does wake up one day and with the spouse says, you know what, I want to rouse myself to a new life. I want to write a book. That's my new goal, and I'm going to do it. Well, that don't just happen, just like me saying, I'm going to get healthy. I don't want to die at 40. I'm going to start going to the gym. And okay, I had to sit down and do a lot of personal work to get there with a lot of starting and stopping and a lot of talking about it and going through like the stages of change.
Yep.
And I do think that is possible, which is why I'm glad that you're going to therapy, or will be once you stop putting it off, T, and knock it off. So what if they know your zodiac sign? How much woo is in your damn community?
Yeah, I know.
This
like,
is a
yeah,
lot of
I really
woo.
want to
A fair
know.
amount.
That's a lot of woo.
I really want to know
What's your birth
where
sign?
you're at.
Jeez, man.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of woo.
That's,
Have you only talked to therapists inside of one practice?
I think that there's like an astrology center in town, and he just
Yeah.
keeps going back.
Yeah.
It's like, you guys got any new people coming through? Somebody else I could try? Like, what part of the phone book are you looking into? Just get started, okay? A moving ship's easier to steer. So get out there, get started. Tell them, the things that are your personal goals for therapy. Any therapist is mostly going to align with that. I think that's generally how it's going to go. Thanks for that woo question. This is one of my favorite of all time.
That was
great
a good one.
episode. If you want to find out what we're talking about, go to, what is it? What's our website? PodTherapy.net.
that sounds good.
Go
Try
into the
that.
search bar and search woo. It's definitely in there. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about helping out a teen with gender issues. You're listening to Pod Therapy.
Today's episode is brought to you by Smitty Scoop, Jake Schneider, Carolyn Albert, and Kevin Chamberlain. If you'd like to sponsor the show, become a therapy producer at patreon.com/therapy. Our second question, under the theme of dogs, is, in the original Monopoly game, which dog breed is the dog token? Is it A, a boxer, B, a poodle, C, a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel,
Oh, that feels right.
or D, a Scottish Terrier?
Oh, my God.
If you'd like to join the therapy producers and make the show possible, go to patreon.com/therapy and sign up. Again, that's patreon.com/therapy.
Poodle, a really fancy royal dog,
A boxer
and a boxer.
or a Scottish Terrier.
Scottish Terrier.
Okay, I'll just read them again because
Yeah.
you completely fucked up the order.
I was almost there.
Okay, a boxer,
Yeah.
a poodle,
Okay.
Cavalier King Charles Spaniel,
Holy God, that's
or
obviously
D,
it.
a Scottish Terrier.
A poodle, they're big, aren't they? That's a bigger, because you think of it as small, but it's not small.
A
It's
standard poodle is.
yeah.
A big
You have,
poodle.
you have standard poodle and miniature poodles.
Standard? That's what we're
Standard
calling
poodle
them?
gets pretty big.
It's like a car.
Yeah.
All right. So you got a standard poodle. First one
It
was
doesn't say
boxer.
a standard poodle; it just says poodle.
All right. All right. That's fair. That's a good point.
And you got like the teacup poodles
It's
too that you
fancy.
can carry around in your fucking purse.
I don't think it's a boxer. Boxer cute. I like boxers. Maybe it is a boxer. The Scottish one
it's
is
Rocky Marciano.
is a Scotty? Is that the one that's the little the Scottish dog from Lady and the Tramp? Is that a Scottish Terrier?
His mama named him
don't know.
Cassius Clay. I'm gonna call him Cassius Clay.
I don't know.
I'm going with Scottish Terrier.
It's terrier.
It is.
It's the terrier.
It's the Scotty
It is-
dog.
It is a Scottish Terrier.
Ah, you
Yeah.
threw in that royal one
I
as
did.
a decoy, and I'm going to be honest, that almost had me. But the Scotty dog from Lady and the Tramp is what rescued me from that.
No.
I knew Scotty. Scotty doesn't know that Fiona and me.
2-1.
What?
The winner.
Whatever. All right,
Was
this is
for
a good
the
question.
PhD.
No, this one's not. You don't even get my dog. Hey
I
guys,
don't want your dog.
you would if you met her.
You owe me a beer.
Gorgeous. Damn it. Hey guys, we're struggling to help guide our teen with their future. They're in high school and trying to decide whether to go to college. The child is an A student. They're trying to decide whether to go to college, a tech program, or to just get a quote-unquote regular job, like a restaurant, a bakery, retail. They're also struggling with gender identity issues and identifying as a male. Being two parents who followed the structured path of college and then relationship, cis, straight relationship, we do not identify as cisgendered despite conforming to those roles for the most part. I, female, have almost always been a tomboy and grew up being mistaken for a boy until puberty because I liked boy things and climbed trees and worked with my hands. I continued this by going into an area of study and work that is traditionally male, engineering and construction. My partner, who is male, is in tech and identifies as a man. He enjoys sewing and cooking, as well as many other things. We're struggling with our teens' need to label themselves because we raised them to be whatever they wanted, to play with whatever they wanted. We never use terms like act like a lady or be a big girl. It is hard for us to understand, and we want to accept them for who they are. So, what's our question? How do we help them find the right path for their future? And how do we help them find out who they are? We're trying to set up calls with people who work in those fields that they are interested in, and we're trying to find a counselor to talk with them about the gender identity challenges and other anxiety depression issues. We have limited and terrible choices for counselors in our area/insurance network. Thank you, clueless, out-of-touch parents.
Whew, I thought we would end the day on a hard one, but luckily we got this nice just walk in the
Glide
park
right in at the end of the
Softball.
show. Yeah. Smack it out of the park.
Definitely a terrier.
The Scotty dog.
Well,
Woo.
okay. First off, I don't think you are clueless, out of touch parents at all.
Yeah, you're doing really good.
Yeah,
on this
I
one.
would love to
doing great.
have. I would love to have you guys as parents.
Right.
You seem to be doing a very good job, and I think you're further along than even you think you
Give
are.
yourself more credit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think finding a counselor wouldn't be a bad idea, and not a counselor in the sense that you're hoping to guide or change their decisions, but just to have that extra support, I think would be a great idea.
Right.
As you kind of navigate this area. As far as a field to go into, my thought on that, and this is just not as a clinician or as a behavioral health expert or anything like that, just
Professional male model.
just as a professional. male model.
Sorry. Go ahead.
This is my opinion.
Yeah.
I think whatever you choose at that age, you're probably going to change your mind multiple times.
Yeah.
I mean, oh my God, I'm trying to think from the time I was a senior in high school until the time I graduated college.
You literally just
The
announced you're
different
changing your
things.
career in the Patreon.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I'm adding to my career. I'm
Sorry.
not really changing it necessarily. But
Not yet.
like I went from I wanted to be an architect at one point. Then I found out that you had to do math.
Oh, fuck that.
And then I was going to major in finance at
Then
one
you figured
point.
out they had math too.
Yeah,
Tangible?
math just
There's
follows me
numbers
everywhere.
in finance. What?
Then I did 3 years of
Sell
psychology
underpants,
until
make
I got
money.
the 3 years of psychology, and then we found out we had to do statistics.
Statistics.
What?
That is the great reckoning. You're
Yeah.
in too deep by
Yeah.
the time you get
Yeah.
to stats.
Yeah,
and
you're
like,
committed
"Gonna
by
find
that
a way
point."
through this. Gonna limp to the finish line.
God, yeah. So psychology, architects, finance. I think there was something else in there too that I forgot.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's like you go down a path and you take a few steps before you realize, oh, this isn't for me, and then you
Right.
change. You know?
Yeah.
And I think the best thing that you can really do in that situation is just be supportive and allow your child to kind of experiment a little bit
with all the
of that.
above, with
Yeah.
with career stuff and with identity stuff. I mean, I've had some college age folk who, when I first started working with them, they identified a certain gender, they identified a certain sexual orientation, and over the years that I've worked with them, I've witnessed that change. And that I didn't do anything. Like, we just authentically allowed them to explore their truth, encounter other humans, use that as a dim reflection of themselves, and arrive at things that felt more and more authentic to them. So I guess the first thing that we're both saying to you is this parent fear of, like, how do we help them? How do we facilitate them finding the right path? How do we facilitate them finding out who they are? It comes from a very honest place. It's a very good-hearted place. And as a dad, I get that feeling. And I think Nick's right. The truth is, we find it on the way. You get out there into the journey. There is no wrong path. Like going to a tech school, going to college, or taking a job for a while. I'm a big fan of. So, okay, what do you think about gap years? When a kid finishes high school, taking a break before they transition straight to college, working a job, getting their hands dirty for a little while. What do you think about gap
I
year?
think it's entirely dependent on if you have a desire for that kid to go to college.
Explain.
If your goal as a parent is, I want my kid to go to college, but let's have a gap year first.
Yeah.
I think you're dumb as a bag of hammers.
Because they ain't gonna go, right?
I mean, I think the chances of them going to college after having a year to themselves
Yeah.
goes down a lot.
They lose that resolve too.
I think
Well, and that momentum.
Yes.
They've been in school for 12 years at this
Yeah.
point. Like,
now they get to live the
now
life
it's
of
like,
the homeless.
this is what it's like to not be in school.
Yeah.
Let's do this
Let's
for
do
another
this.
12 years.
that is exactly why I didn't take any time between my bachelor's and
You
master's.
just keep it going.
Because
Yeah.
I know me.
Yeah.
And I know if I stop, I'm done.
done.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
not going to go back.
Yeah.
So
There
let's
is
just get this.
No
get through
way
this.
in fuck all. Unless there was some, like, I guess there could be a major thing that comes up, like a major job or something like that, that
Right.
just pays a shit ton of money or is exactly what I want to do in life or something like that, could come up and say, but to do this, I need you to have your master's.
Right.
I guess at that point.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
even
I've-
then, like, I have a hard time picturing me going back to school.
I've dropped
I mean,
out
it's
of
been a long time since I've been in
CEUs.
school.
I've dropped out of CEUs when there's too long of a lunch break because I can't come back.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just
Yeah.
I'm just gonna stay here at Arby's. You know?
If though your
I don't care about the
goal
credit anymore.
is to genuinely decide whether or not college is for you,
Right.
then I become a lot more in favor of gap years.
If you're
Yeah.
using it with intention.
If you're saying, like, I'm going to use this gap year, or my
Right.
kid's going to use this gap year to find themselves and figure some stuff
And that's
out.
intentional. We're not just working at
And,
McDonald's.
and after that year,
Yeah.
they may or may not go to college. They may or may
Right.
not go to trade school. They may or may not start a job. They may or
Right.
may like, if your options are truly open
right.
and you're okay with those options being open,
yeah.
gap year, baby.
Yeah.
That's I
Well,
do see the value of that.
If your
Yeah.
goal
Yeah.
is take a year off and then definitely go to college, I don't know what you're doing.
yeah, that's only gonna risk it.
Seems like a not great move.
And your perspectives always change because I remember my senior year coming up on graduation, talking to some of my classmates about what they're going to do, you know, and
Yeah.
I already made the commitment I was going to go to college. I already had it all planned out, had part of it paid for already, you know, the first semester. But I was talking to a friend of mine who had a job with the Department of Transportation.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm not going to college. I'm making $10 an hour.
Yeah, and you're like,
And
oh, this guy's
I
the
know,
king.
yeah.
He's got
At that
beer
moment,
money.
I was like, oh my God, $10 an hour. That sounds great.
Buy
you
your
know?
own cheeseburgers, man.
Yeah.
I buy all the cheeseburgers I want, Tangeman. Oh my God.
Yeah.
No, that totally is a thing.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you one better than that. Growing up here in Vegas,
Oh, well, yeah. Here
that
in
was
Vegas.
a really hard thing
Yeah.
because you finish high school.
I don't know how anybody goes to college
It's
in Vegas.
very
No, yeah.
hard. because
Especially if you are
immediately-
attractive.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
If you are an
immediately.
attractive person in Las Vegas, it's really
Immediately.
easy to go get a $70,000 a year job.
Instantaneously, and even if they're under 21, and that was the golden number. Like in Vegas, when you graduate high school,
And
it's
if
like
you're willing to take your clothes off,
you're banking.
that number goes up.
Six figures.
Yeah, but you just wait till you're 21, hit the gym, work out, look good, serve
Yeah.
drinks. You'll work 3 months out of the year at the cabanas. You'll
Right.
travel the rest of the year, and you will have made 6 figures during your 3 months. It's insane. Or just being a bartender anywhere. Like,
Yeah.
so there's a ton of jobs that are, and I get it. It's very seductive. So whenever you have a high schooler who's at nearing this end point, a couple of things. One, if you haven't already gone to the guidance counselor of your school, they usually have a lot of resources that are designed to say, hey, let's test the waters, let's explore ideas. One resource that I use with high schoolers and college folk whenever I'm trying to help them kind of discover, I use something called the ONET, O-N-E-T, Career Interest Profiler. It's a free assessment you can take. It's sponsored by the government. And I usually have them do that. That thing catalogs suggested careers based on the personality of the human. Now, our personalities change, but it's a good place to get started. And then it takes those careers and it divides them into 5 tiers from you could start this with no high school diploma all the way to you go to college, you get experience. This is the highest career you could get in these different categories. So it outlines like dozens and dozens and dozens of different careers. Usually people have never even heard of half these. Then I send them to the Bureau of Labor Statistics Occupational Outlook Handbook. Go to bls.gov, go into the search bar, type in OOH. It will take you to the occupational handbook. And the Bureau of Labor Statistics has an exhaustive encyclopedia of all the careers that exist in America. They will tell you how much money they make, what you have to do to get there. They'll have videos that tell you about a day in their life. They'll tell you where in the country they do well. Everything all laid out. So those two resources are a really great place to get the ball rolling, get somebody thinking. I'm also a big fan, if you do take a gap year, I want that to be exploratory, kind of what Jacob said. If you honestly don't know what you want to do, I get it. College is a big, huge financial investment. And you shouldn't just go just to take the classes if you don't know what you're going to do with it. Like, I really don't want kids getting a degree in basket weaving because honestly, it is a very expensive
Unless
hobby.
it's free.
Unless it's free. Yeah, if you're going to community college, which also is a great choice.
Or no, like if you have scholarships or grants or whatever.
Which is great. Take them if you've got
Cool.
them. Yes. Or if you can do it on the cheap. Like students who aren't sure what they want to do, if I can pick for them, gap year maybe, but like Jacob said, I'm usually really hesitant about that. I usually want them to do like community college courses and just do their general eds. Because the first 12 classes that you take in college are the same no matter what degree you get.
Yep.
Freshman and sophomore year,
It's the
pretty
same
much
stuff.
the same
You got a
crap.
humanities course you're going to have to take.
You're taking English
You got-
101. You're
Yep.
taking Math 101. You're taking Comm 101. You're going to take a philosophy. You're going to take all this bull crap that they do just to jack up the prices, and
I
you
don't
don't
take
actually
any of
need
those.
any of this crap. Go to community college and take those, and just spin your wheels for a little while. Work a part-time job on the side. Take some classes and explore while you're there. And making it a point to meet the guidance counselors on campus and explore that. Now, to this gender identity stuff, I agree. I think this also is something that is manifested and explored as your child grows, as they meet other people, as they go join clubs, as they find like a pride alliance on their campus or support groups and just explore themselves. This may change over time. You don't have to necessarily get it. Writer, you say, listen, our family doesn't even do much with gender identity. We are non-conforming in a lot of ways, and we wonder why our child even feels the need to identify as something. Why can't they just be them? Cool. And respect the identity that they're selecting, right? And if they're saying, listen, this is how I align right now, okay, love them through it, which you already are. Nick gave you a compliment, said you guys are damn good parents. I agree. And trust that this stuff will work itself out as you kind of enter into adulthood. And you said that you're looking for a therapist. You said that slim options. Sounds like you're already looking online, and that's tough because, sure, I would say go to like BetterHelp or Talkspace, but I won't because neither of them sponsor the damn show. So go to patreon.com/therapy. That's the only thing I can tell you.
Yeah, good second choice.
That's good,
We
solid
always-
backup.
We always kind of run into this. Anytime we get a question like this, we always kind of
Yeah.
run into this. And I never have a good way to phrase this. So I'm going to say this, and I want you to take it in the way that take it in the spirit that it's intended, because this is not a negative at all. And that is, your kid's a kid.
Yeah.
Kids are going to change, and kids are going to go through parts of their lives where that change is going to happen fast, and other parts of their lives where the change is going to happen slowly. Just be clear that you are open and loving, which it sounds like that's exactly what you're doing.
That's it.
And then the next time your kid changes, you're there and it's still fine.
Right.
Because you still love your kid, and whatever pronoun your kid wants to use, whatever anything they want to use, whatever clothes, whatever toys, whatever anything, that doesn't matter to you because you
Sure.
love your kid and you want your kid to be happy.
That's always key.
And just, be okay with that change because another change is coming in 2 weeks. And it might
A
not
lot
be,
of times.
And it might not be a gender identity change
No.
next time. It might be something different.
I want to be a philosopher.
Yeah.
Next week I want to be an artist or an
But then
architect
another
or a
gender identity
financier.
change might come later on down the road.
It may.
And I would suggest, because one thing that I'm always concerned about when we get letters like this is I'm concerned that a parent, I've never dealt with anything like this. Let me preface everything with I don't fucking know anything.
Okay.
And
Always a good place to
yeah.
start.
But I'm always scared when I hear parents ask these questions
Sure.
because I am scared that such a big deal is then made of this. Such a big deal is
Right.
made of this change. My child wants to identify as a different gender from the gender that they were born with, or I don't know how the words work anymore.
Right.
The gender they were assigned at birth, or what have you.
Sure.
If that becomes a deal, if that becomes a really big fucking deal,
Sure.
a year, 2 years, 5 years goes down the road, and your kid might think to themselves, I'm starting to identify more as the gender that I was born as, and
They
less,
may. Yeah, they may.
or something completely different. Maybe no gender
Sure.
or anything else.
Non-binary,
Yeah. If a big deal was made the first time,
Right.
they are less likely to come to you the second time.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's been my experience, working in foster care.
Yeah.
It's been my experience that you, as a parent, you can get really far by just being loving,
Yeah.
supporting,
Right.
and open to have conversations with no judgment.
Yeah.
Like you just do those 3 things, you can get really far. Like you don't have to be an expert in child psychology to be a good parent. You really it boils down to just being those 3 things as best as you can, and you can get pretty far. Are you going to make mistakes? Of course.
Yeah.
But
and that's really well said. And to come back to something Jacob said, because I do think it's important to highlight, I've had cases like that where I think I mentioned earlier, like people have changed their sexual orientation while I've been working with them. I've had a situation where a person identified as lesbian and a parent was against this, upset.
Okay.
And initially, this is one of the reasons they wanted the adult child to go to therapy with me. And I had to explain to the parent my policy on this.
Mm-hmm.
Do not do conversion therapy. It is harmful. It is wrong. I won't do it. You need to understand that. And parent from jump said, oh, no, I totally get that. We're cool. I just don't think this is who my child really is. And I want to make sure that they have a safe place where I don't fiddle with them and they can just work through life. Also, child had other stuff going on. So it's like, this is just for them, Jim. Cool. But I'll keep my hands off it. All right, cool. We go on down the road and eventually adult, I call them child because they're somebody's child, but they're not. They're an adult. Adult identifies as heterosexual. Fine. And we have to have a hard talk about it because patient is like, I have a really hard time now bringing this to my parent because my parent is going to do this I told you so parade. And this is bad. This is hurtful to me. I just want to be authentic with my damn parent.
Yeah.
And this is hard, right? Because they didn't support me when I was authentically feeling differently. And I have mixed feelings now, but I mostly identify this way. And now I can't talk to them about it. And our relationship is obviously broken.
Right.
So this goes back to what Jacob said, which is whenever you're confronting changes in a human's life who you love very much, I think Nick's advice is key. You could just settle into, I love the hell out of you. I don't know who you are. Let's find out together. And I'm here to be curious and supportive and relentlessly loving at you. And let's discover as we go. But I always want you to feel like you can talk to me about this. But I also get it. As a parent, sometimes you're very invested. You're not this unbiased third party, and that's where a therapist can be really helpful.
I'm sure that situation was difficult for you as a therapist because you have to balance out being supportive of your clients against the amazing Yelp review that you're going to get from the parents.
Right. The therapist, he did it. He said he wouldn't, but he did it. He'll tell you with a wink and a nod that he can't, but he did it. No, I didn't do jack. I just watched.
Oh, how upset would Jim have been if that Yelp review popped up?
Oh my God.
Oh, that would have been great.
I mean, but if it's 5 stars, I'm leaving it. I'm not contesting it if it's 5 stars. Like, I need the stars, guys. Gotta earn a living.
He just would have been so mad.
That'd have been the worst. So anyway, Ryder, I think that the end result here is, and you said this in your letter, you said, listen, we love the snot out of our child. We just want to help them. For us, gender has never been that big of a deal, and so it's strange, I guess, that it is an identifier right now when we've never really been conforming. And I get where you're coming from with that. So again, I think the thing that we want to just say is keep doing what you're doing. Be extremely loving. Is therapy always a great idea for young adults? I really do think it's a great thing. If you can get that resource to people. Insurance covers folks till 26 now. I realize that there can be sparse options, but anything is good. And especially if they end up going to school, high school or college, guidance counseling is there. And there's usually some kind of extra mental support there. Any of that, I think, is a great place to be. Support groups, also very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
So great stuff there. Good question. Glad we ended on an easy one.
Yeah.
Those are just breezy. All right. So we are at the end of our show. I want to remind you that we have bonus content that we throw up at patreon.com/therapy. It's always extra show material. And then a lot of times we put up lots of interesting stuff. You go in through our archives, you can see interviews of all sorts of various types, lectures that we've posted, movie nights that we've done, all sorts of fun stuff. There's half-finished book clubs up there. Lots of interesting stuff that you can go back into the archives and find. So go to patreon.com/therapy. I want to thank all of our supporters. Here at the beginning of every month, we take a second to thank all the theropods, therodactyls. We thank our theraproducers every single show. And anytime you're new, if you sign up at patreon.com/therapy at any level, go to our Twitter immediately. Go to PodTherapyGuys at Twitter, and you will see us at some point that same day thank you out loud and acknowledge your presence and celebrate you joining the party. So if you ever are waiting to hear your name announced at the end of a show, just know sometimes we do tape these a week or so in advance. So if you've joined us since August 23rd and you don't hear your name today, that's because we're obviously taping August 23rd. So you'll hear it in the future. But here at the beginning of the month, we want to thank all of the theropods, starting with new theropods.
Oh, okay.
Yep, we got some new ones here.
You got it. You're on it.
I'm all over this.
You've done this before.
Jacob Harrington just joined the party. And Andrew Langmead. Andrew, by the way, immediately jumped into that Patreon feed and got right to business. Love it, Andrew. Keep those hard questions and comments coming. We love it. And we want to thank all of our theropods. Want to thank, of course, Jacob Harrington, Mama Ninja Scoop, Dr. Scoop Little, Kerna Pillar, Levente Baggy, Charlie Quinn Starling, Natalie MC, Lauren, that Josh guy, Ian Soto, Jessica Cyphers, Heather, Adam Petanuzzo, Mats Lenegren, Andrew Langmead, I Have the Knack, Take It Evie podcast, Lauren Izzo from Mouthy Broadcast, Chelsea Lamb, Felicia Butler, David Sorensen, Todd I think Felicia actually told me once she pronounces it Felicia.
Yeah, most people do.
Felicia Butler, David Sorensen, Todd Canfield, Matthew Nair, Adam Rabiznik, spelled just like it sounds, Jim Hunter, Katie Chiwakowski. Look at me, Nick. I nailed that one. James K, Okie Scoop, Chelsea Saracen, Scoopy Jess, Don Dorr, Scoopatron, Richard Bruins, Joseph Pengrazio, Carrie Terhark, Curtis Kiwi Fruit, Curtis...
Wow.
Back to one.
Look at me go.
Back
Look
to
at
one.
me go. I got
Jacob
it.
Harrington. Mama. Curtis Kiwi Fruit Scoop Hanlon. Brooks Lyle. Tracy Replogle, a.k.a. my Batmom. Craig Little. Gavin Bristow. Ulrika. Brad Kiefaver. Christine Phillips. Jeffrey Ackerman. 3 Scoops a Lady. Kate Keller. Scoopstronaut. Lori Eltzroth. Shayla Bullock. Ian Whitefall, Stacy Westerlin, Stacy Coleman, Dan Martin, Linda Brandmeier, and Corey Owens.
And we want to thank all of our therodactyls. Thank you, Chris, Samantha Teague, Sapphire, Tori Snyder, Robert Ward, Scott Ashlock, Ryan Stewart, Slurpy Kaye, motherfucker, Angie Ellis, Ezekiel Lawrence, Andrea Anderson, Lindsay Bashara, Fred Bashara Jr., Frozen Cusser, Ice Blue Scoop, Tess Miller, Scott Brady, Brian Lehman, and Robert Paulson.
His name is Robert Paulson. And we want to thank our bosses, the Saccharin 16, the mysterious and shrouded Illuminati members of the fan club, the Thera producers. Thank you, Smitty Scoop, Jake Schneider, Robert Brownie Jr. Mint, Kayla Lansbury, Judy Schneider, Nathan's Hot Dog Scoop, King of Student Loan Debt, Dr. Ben Dawn, Crazy Banana Scoop, Mason Miller, Scott Jameson, Carolyn Albert, Leon Kassab, official lawyer of the show, Kevin Chamberlain, Jim's unofficial dentist. By the way, Kevin, I've been wearing my liners 22 hours a day for the last week. I did what Kevin told me. Kevin's freaked out on me.
Good.
I was like, all right, I started doing what Kevin told me. That's why he's my unofficial dentist. Malaya, Richard Macy, Cindy Ash, Lord Colin Stewart, and Newstick.
If you'd like to hear this episode uncut and unedited,
You don't, trust me.
and enjoy our spontaneous side projects, go to patreon.com/therapy, and thank you for supporting mental health.
That's all the time that we got for this week's session. We want to thank our landlords, Matt Mattingly's Ice Cream Social Podcast, and thanks to those of you who contributed to our show today. We really appreciate it. Remember, pod therapy isn't something you should keep all to yourself. Share this episode with someone who needs it. Go ahead and open up that episode description in your podcast app. Copy and paste that link we gave you into your social media. Don't forget, you can find us at facebook.com/podtherapy, on Twitter at PodTherapyGuys, at patreon.com/therapy, and don't forget to buy our merch at podtherapybaitshop.com.
Do you want to submit a question for the show? Ask anonymously at podtherapy.net or email us at podtherapyguys@gmail.com. I'm Nick Tangeman.
I'm Jim Jobin.
Thanks, and we'll see you for appointment next week.
All right, can you name all the dogs in Lady and the Tramp?
I've never seen it.
Well, there's
Two of them are in the title. There you go.
Tramp?
That's 2.
The other one's named Tramp?
What do you think the terrier's name was?